All right, we are here with Will.
Hi. How are
Hi,
you?
Will. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, great to hear it.
It's a new year. A lot of new possibilities. A lot of new awesome things to do.
That sounds like a lot of cliche type things you just said right
A
there.
lot of new stuff.
Stuff. It's new. Good.
New is always better.
Happy.
Right?
Yes. Love things.
Excellent.
They
I'm
are
also happy
great.
that you're here.
Oh, nice.
Wonderful.
I'm pretty pissed off that you're here, though.
Why does everybody say that?
Well, upwards and onwards, you're drawing things.
I'm drawing things.
Can I guess?
Sure.
Are you storyboarding something?
I am storyboarding an image. Well, usually the way things go down here is think of Dave and I as the band, and we'll write a song or come up with an idea for the song. We'll present that song to a client. Say if we're doing jingles, for instance. Dave and I will usually bounce ideas back and forth, and we'll come up with something crazy, and we'll say, okay, picture this. You're riding on a dragon with a machine gun, and you are dropping bombs made of chocolate on hungry children. And we'll come up with that idea for a client, and they'll say, sometimes, I love it, that's exactly what I was wanting to go for. Or sometimes they'll be like, I can't picture that in my head, because that's insane. So we go into the process of actually drawing the whole entire thing out, where
You're making drawings.
drawings. I like to do drawings. But we'll do something where if a concept's a little heavier in the insane department, where it's hard to really picture that idea, we'll make sure we lay everything out. It also makes sense for when we go into the asset collection part of a project, where if we have everything drawn out beforehand and we know exactly where everything's going to be, we know how to take a picture of our person, we know what we need to model in 3D, we know what angles we need to render everything out in, and it really just keeps us organized. So we spend 15 minutes on a drawing as opposed to having to mess up and cover ourselves and potentially spending hours and days to fix it. So we get an approval on a sketching pretty much before every single job that we end up doing.
So it helps with expectations.
Absolutely. They kind of get something in their head. Of course.
Instead of just like, oh, I didn't realize you were going to do that.
Oh, you really meant lasers. Yeah. So Dave and I will meet with the client. We'll go back and forth. We have this really cool thing where we bounce ideas off of each other, and I'll show Dave a sketch, and he'll be like, you know what? That doesn't make any sense. You need to do this. And usually he's totally right. He's amazing with details. So we'll go back and forth on that thing, and then
His job is to go to the client and kind of communicate. Well, you're there probably a lot. You communicate
Dave
the
does
idea
a little bit of
to them?
everything, though, because I'm of that mindset of every creative person needs to have somebody to balance them out. It just so happens that Dave is absurdly creative, so he gets involved in that process where we're planning these things out also.
Okay.
But he and I are going back and forth.
I thought
on
maybe-
things the entire time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Where
But you're using this to so that you don't always just have to depend on verbally explaining the vision to people. You can go like,
Absolutely.
here it is.
without spending a whole lot of time, we'll go into the concepting and be able to.
But how long did that take?
What
That looks
part-
like a pretty...
There's probably like 45 minutes into this right now.
Okay.
Yeah, not too bad. And I'm just done. I'm just kind of trying to come up with ideas right now.
Okay.
But a lot of the time, if a client signs off on a sketch, we'll match that sketch entirely. Only we'll use photography mixed with maybe illustration.
So we call this
3D.
a sketch or a storyboard because for pictures, you don't really have to have a whole like series of
What
other
this actually
pictures.
this is a PreViz.
Okay.
So just like they do in what you'd see in the Pixar movie, they'll do a PreViz run where they'll actually maybe storyboard everything out and do a motion storyboard. Since we do a pre-visualization where we're just trying to throw the concept out and give them a visual ID of the ideas that Dave and I have been explaining to the client. And most of the time, like, we have really cool clients where they really get involved in the creative process, and we'll get into a room with them, and they'll be like, okay, here's our idea. And like, oh, how about this? And we go, ooh, that's cool. How about this? And we all kind of have this really nice back and forth where it builds and builds and builds. And eventually we have this just totally incredible idea where it goes both ways. We can either have the final idea, but we love working with clients because it sounds cliche once again, but we really do want partnerships with people, and we want to make their ideas way better than they would have been just working on their own. We want to come in and be those people and make those happen.
Joy and happiness.
Happy, joy.
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 Well, thanks for telling us about the PreViz experience. Over and out.